In the headlines, Kebbi Governor-elect gets certificate of return, pledges to completion of unfinished projects. Police rescue 8 kidnapped victims in Benue. Aviation unions vow total airport shutdown in 7 days. And on the foreign scene, explosion shakes Sudan capital despite ceasefire. Hello and welcome to News Update on Trust TV. I am Sagir Ibrahim. Hello and welcome once again. Kebbi State Governor-elect Dr. Nasir Idris has promised to round off all projects not completed by his predecessor, Abubakar Bagudu. The governor-elect is also promising to give Birnin Kebbi, the capital city, a facelift. Idris made the pledge in Birnin Kebbi when he and his deputy Abubakar Tafida collected their certificate of return at the state INEC headquarters. He pledged that he was ready to turn the economy of the state around and ensure that farmers in the troubled southern part of the state return to their farms when he is sworn in. The governor-elect said the people of Kebbi State deserve to live a good life because they are hardworking and committed to progress of the state. Also, members of the People's Democratic Party are celebrating the victory of Governor Ahmadu Umar Fintiri in the city of Jimeta. Governor Fintiri beat his closest rival, Senator Aisha Dahiru Binani of the All Progressive Congress, and other contestants after supplementary elections were conducted on the 15th of April 2023. The process, which had been beset with some drama, was eventually concluded on Monday, with the party's candidate emerging victorious. The celebration by members is also underlined by relief that attempts to hijack the process were not successful.
We want to assure them that we will continue the good works we have started. We have started laying the foundation for a greater Adamawa state where systems work, where institutions work, where resources are judiciously utilized, where the government is responsive to the earnings of the people. So the assurance I want to give them is that we shall continue to build on those blocks and ensure that like we have always maintained our philosophy as a government.
Even when your wife is pregnant and she delivered safely, successfully, you have to jubilate. So when you go for an election and then you win an election, you must jubilate. And that's why we're happy, we are jubilating. We are here to thank God, we are here to thank INEC, and to thank everybody for supporting us, supporting the governor, Ahmadu Umar Fintiri.
My message to them will be to come together to build Adamawa State, especially given that the current governor, Right Honorable Ahmadu Umar Fintiri, are delivering on the dividends of democracy, and that is visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. I will ask them to shun desperation and come together to build a one prosperous and progressive Adamawa State.
Also, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in the 2023 presidential elections, Atiku Abubakar, has lauded Umaru Fintiri's re-election as the governor of Adamawa State, describing it as a win for democracy. Shortly after the declaration, Atiku in a tweet said the triumph proved that good can overcome bad. He thanked the people of Adamawa and men and women of goodwill for staying the course in resisting coupists and enemies of democracy from having their way. He noted that lessons Nigerians should learn from the election is that they should be vigilant and never give in to anti-democratic forces whose objective is to snatch, run with, and undermine the mandate of the people as freely expressed in their votes. Also, the Minister of Interior, Rauf Aregbesola, on Tuesday launched a 5-year strategic plan for the ministry and its agencies to tackle insecurity in the country. In a statement by the spokesman of the ministry, Afonja Fatai Ajibola, Aregbesola noted that the ministry is integral to the national security and prosperity of the country. Earlier, the Permanent Secretary, Shuaibu Belguri, said the ministry had operated without a strategic plan. According to him, Nigeria has now has a chance to improve its security architecture through the ministry's strategic plan developed collaboratively with key stakeholders. Also, the police in Benue State says all 8 abducted victims in Owukpa community in Ogbadibo local government area of the state have been rescued unhurt. Daily Trust had earlier reported that the victims were abducted on Sunday evening along Atamka Ugbubu Road of Owukpa, while they were returning from a village market. The police public relations officer, PPRO Catherine Anene, on Tuesday confirmed that the victims were abducted on their way to the farm. She said in an update on Wednesday that they had all been rescued. And away from that, a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, Oke Wali, has been abducted. The NBA, in a statement announcing the abduction, said the 64-year-old senior advocate of Nigeria was kidnapped along the East-West Road in Obiakpo local government area of Rivers State in the early hours of Monday. The incumbent president of the association and 31st in line, Yakubu Mekel, urged both the Inspector General of Police and the Police Commissioner in Rivers State to leave no stone unturned as they work towards the safe release of Oke. Mekel recalled that Mr. Wali, who served as the 26th NBA president between 2012 and 2014, has served the nation in varying capacities, contributing immensely to the growth of legal practice in promotion and entrenchment of the rule of law. He described his predecessor, a Port Harcourt-based lawyer, as a known philanthropist who has helped in the development of his community in no small measure. The NBA, while appealing to the abductors not to harm Wali but instead release him, also assured Wali's family of the full NBA support during the trying period. And also, a policeman serving in Rivers State, Adejo Siaka, has been demoted from the rank of inspector to sergeant following complaints and findings from a video widely circulated on social media on Sunday, the 9th of April. Force Public Relations Officer Muyiwa Adejobi disclosed this in a statement on Tuesday, saying Siaka was sanctioned for assault, discreditable conduct, and incivility to members of the public in the Emoha area of the oil-rich state. The police authorities also reprimanded a second officer, Sergeant Ndiwa Kwebari, who was also present at the scene but took no step to discourage the inappropriate act, and acquitted a third officer, Inspector Friday Obaka, who was later discovered to have been absent from the scene. Siaka's demotion followed an orderly room trial of the affected policeman by the Force Provost Marshal Adejobi Said. Also, the government of Governor Samuel Ortom has suspended for 2 weeks the enforcement of the Open Grazing and Ranches Establishment Law. The law, considered by some section of Nigerians as controversial, was enacted in 2017. Jimmy Adzande reports.
It is 1 week after the activities of the livestock guards saddled with the responsibility of policing the law was suspended by Governor Samuel Ortom. According to the announcement that came out of the State Security Council meeting, this was to pave way for herders who migrated to Benue State on the basis of misinformation to go out. Some public commentators and Benue residents have been reacting to the directive.
The governor has acted within the constitutional powers to allow for the enforcement of the fundamental right of every citizen as regards freedom of movement. So it's a step in the right direction. but we expect more proactive steps towards dealing with the issues of farmer herders conflict, other than such pronouncement at the tail end of his administration.
Who does that? We all know that it's a cliche that ignorance before the law is not an excuse. This law has been there. So why would you now say you want to suspend the law for people that you argue are ignorant of the law? This can go wrong in 2 weeks. So for me, it's the government should come out and tell us what is happening. We are citizens of Benue. We have stake in the security of this state. So they should come out and tell us if they have any challenges. They should tell us.
They called on the incoming government at the state level to strengthen the law and make it more effective for positive results.
The law also deals with issues of environmental protections, issues of climate change, and all of this, animal husbandry and all of that. So the only thing I can say is that the state government, the incoming administration, needs not to repeal the law. But if there is need to repeal the law to take care of certain lacunas, why not? After all, laws are not static. They keep evolving.
The suspension of the enforcement of the law, according to the state government, was not unconnected with recent killings orchestrated by militia headers in the state. As an agricultural state, many feel the sacking of rural farmers from their ancestral homes is a threat to the food security of the nation.
Coupled with the level of insecurity across the country where farmers are able to visit to access their farms, I'm afraid that next year, except the borders are thrown open for imported foods to come into the country, the citizens will be faced with severe hunger.
In a week's time, the suspension would have elapsed. Only then can one assess the success or failure of the executive order.
Also, the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, on Tuesday said 107 stranded Nigerians have been evacuated from Libya. The returnees arrived in Nigeria at about 3:55 p.m. at the cargo wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Ikeja. They were received by the Director General of NEMA, Mustafa Ahmed, who was represented by the Chief Relief and Rehabilitation Officer, Mr. Aziz Afunko. Among the returnees were a male and female infant, 5 female children, and 3 male children. The NEMA boss stated that a total of 105 stranded Nigerians were repatriated, with an additional 281 assisted back to the country in March 2023. The NEMA boss also stated that in April, a lot of others were repatriated back to the country and are working with other sources to ensure the return of more migrants. Also, an unmanned commercial bus driver was on Wednesday confirmed dead in an accident involving 2 yellow-colored vehicles known as Danfo and a government-owned BRT bus. The accident, which occurred around the Ogudu Bridge inward and the Alapere area of Lagos State, grounded vehicular movement and caused a gridlock along the ever-busy axis connecting the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. The BRT bus went up in flames, compounding the traffic situation along the axis. The spokesman for the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, Adebayo Taufik, in an interview blamed the accident on overspeeding by the buses. You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Still to come, we take a look at the rising cost of food items ahead of Eid al-Fitr celebration. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
Good morning, Nigeria. Year after year, they have informed, educated, and entertained us. When you needed information, knowledge, or an escape.
From generation to generation, the Nigerian broadcasting industry has worked tirelessly to serve you.
And now, this service will finally be recognized.
Come May 17th this year, broadcasters all over Nigeria will gather at a hotel and suites for the maiden edition of the Nigerian Broadcasting Awards, an award ceremony set to reward hard work and excellence in the broadcast media. Voting starts on 20th April and ends on 4th May 2023. Visit www.tnbawards.ng to vote now. They've served and they're still serving. It's time we say thank you. This award is organized by the Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, Bonn.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, you're watching News Update on Trust TV. Now, recap of our major stories. Kebbi Governor-elect gets certificate of return, pledges to complete unfinished projects. And police rescue 8 kidnapped victims in Benue. Moving on to more stories now, as the 2-day warning strike embarked on by aviation unions ended on Tuesday, they have vowed to totally shut down airports after 7 days as they staged a procession to the international wing of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. General Secretary of the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals, ANAP, Comrade Abdulrazak Seidu, who spoke at the MMIA, said after 7 days they will embark on a total shutdown to cut Nigeria away from other countries. The unions are demanding implementation of conditions of service, halt in demolition of aviation agencies' offices in Lagos, payment of relocation allowances, among others.
We have registered our grievances yesterday, and because this event is a 2-day event, we had to accomplish it. But remember again, we did not come to the international yesterday. Yes. We are in the international now, and we want everybody to be aware of the injustice that is being meted on us as aviation workers. Yes. For years, we don't have conditions of service. Because the conditions of service we have expired like 13 years ago. And the salaries and income wages are sitting on it. it. Consequential adjustment of the minimum wage, which we all fought for in this country, is being denied aviation workers. Yes, sir. To add salt upon our injury, the minister is bent on forceful relocation of our members and demolishing the headquarters of FAN, NAMA, NCA that are in Lagos.
As Muslims prepare for this year's Salah celebration, prices of food items and other essential commodities seems to be on the increase. Traders in Dawanau grain market say this is largely due to the high cost of production. Trust TV's correspondent Idris Jibrin now reports.
This is called Dawanau International Market in Kano, which is believed to be the largest grain market in the entire West African sub-region. Food items in Dawanau is very important. Like you know, Dawanau is the largest grain market in the entire West African sub-region. And over the years, if you come here, whatever type of food items you need, you will get it in this market. We have everything here. Every year, Muslims come here from different parts of the world to buy grains, which are especially used to prepare food during Eid celebration. But customers say the price this year is not encouraging. For now, as Salah approaches, the price, I must tell you that the price of food items have increased. I'm here to buy rice, beans, and even yam, but I was made to understand that everything has increased. Unlike a few months ago or even last month, everything has the price of everything have increased in these markets today. High cost of transportation, increase in production cost, the lack of capital and other modern farming equipment are largely responsible for the high increase in price of food items. You see, I'm selling wheat, maize, rice, and all sort of food items you can find. I'm selling it here. But the problem is that we have problem from the farmers where we used to buy these food items because they have problem of fertilizer and other farming equipment which they don't use to get. Therefore, they increase the price. And if we buy from them, we also have to increase the price so that we gain a little from what we are selling. According to traders in these Africa's largest grain markets, the need for government to ensure price control from point of production to the point of sale may be significant to avoid unnecessary inflation across the country. Idris Jibrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
The National Industrial Court sitting in Lagos has nullified the appointment of an ad hoc committee put in place by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to run the affairs of the Road Transport Employees Association of Nigeria in the state and reinstated the elected leadership of the union. Justice Maureen Esowe held that the act of Lagos State Government in suspending the national union's operations in the state and setting up a caretaker committee is illegal and unconstitutional. The court also restrained the state government from further interfering with the operations of the union's executive. In September 2022, Governor Sanwo-Olu had ordered the immediate suspension of all activities of the Road Transport Employees Association of Nigeria in the state. The government said the suspension became necessary following some pockets of violence recorded in Ojo and Lagos Island areas of the state. The state government later in October set up a 35-man ad hoc committee to take over activities of the union. The RTEAN subsequently instituted the suit in October 2022 to challenge the Lagos state government for dissolving the elected executive committee of the union in the state and appointing the ad hoc committee. On the international scene now, Sudan's health ministry says at least 270 people have been killed since clashes broke out. Fighting in Sudan is raging on in spite of an internationally brokered truce that was supposed to be in effect as forces loyal to dueling generals battle for key locations in the capital and accuse each other of violating the ceasefire. Many hospitals in Khartoum remain out of service and medical personnel have been unable to reach healthcare facilities. The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies is warning that Sudan's health system is at risk of breakdown. International calls are mounting for an end to hostilities in the African country, with G7 foreign ministers on Tuesday urging an immediate ceasefire between the warring forces. And in sports, AC Milan reached the semi-finals of the Champions League on Tuesday after Olivier Giroud struck the crucial goal in a 1-1 draw at Napoli, which completed a 2-1 aggregate victory over their fellow Italians. Giroud tapped in what turned out to be the decisive goal 2 minutes before the break, after a blistering run from Rafael Leao, who was once again key as Milan beat Napoli for the third time this month. The France striker's 13th goal of the season saved his blushes after he missed a penalty midway through the first half. Stefano Pioli's side now have the prospect of a local derby in the last 4 as Inter Milan hold a 2-goal lead ahead of their second leg with Benfica on Wednesday night. Victor Osimhen scored in stoppage time, but it was not enough for Napoli, who are creaking as they come towards the end of what has been a phenomenal season. And with that, we've come to the end of News Update at this hour. Do well to follow us across all our media platforms. I'm Sagir Ibrahim. Thanks for watching.